Hi guys! It's Jack and Lorraine back again with another video here on the BigFish Media channel. Yes, so if you haven't already, like, share and subscribe. We appreciate it. We should have done that at the end. But anyway, plug out of the way. Today, we are talking about something that I think we can most certainly relate to. Any other voiceover artist who's already in the profession would be helpful on advice to. But we're going to give you some of our advice, and it is, of course, on how to start your VO career. Every good story has a beginning, and that's what today's video is all about.
Today is going to be story time.
Story time. So, take us back, Lorraine, to how to start your voiceover career.
Many years ago.
Eons ago!
I think maybe 17 years ago.
17 years ago!
Yes, I was very fortunate, and somebody, a friend of a friend, always a friend of a friend.
Always a friend of a friend.
Always a friend of a friend, said they needed somebody for a video, and would I help out? And I did, and I got the taste for it. And that's how I basically started.
So,
Very slow
so
down.
you were doing a video, as in they
needed a voice for a video.
needed a voice for a video and they asked you to do it. Okay, and was this through a job that you were already doing, like through a company you were already working at?
I think I was at university.
Oh.
I think they just needed a young voice, and I fit the bill.
And after that, did you?
And then I thought, this is fun. But at that point, there wasn't really the technology, and it wasn't cheap enough to set up your own home studio. At least not for me, who was still a student. So I had to. I worked for quite a few years in creative industries, copywriting, marketing, and learning business, and learning how adverts are put together. Cut my teeth on some very good adverts out there.
There you go.
And then it was always there, and I was always slightly building it up. And,
In the background while you're doing other things, yeah.
Other things, all building away. And I found myself in a fortunate position where I had clients. Technology was cheap enough and accessible enough to have my own home studio.
Well, there you go. There you go.
There you go. It was that easy.
It always sounds really easy. There's always a lot more that's gone into it, but obviously people aren't going to tell you the nitty gritty generally if you ask them about their voiceover career and how they got into it, because it is one of those careers. I think when you're talking to people, if you're meeting people for the first time, they go, "Oh, what do you do?" General small talk questions. You go, "Oh, I'm a voiceover artist," and they go, "What?"
It's a sexy job.
It does sound good. It sounds good, and a lot of the time they're not.
Because it's audio, really.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, I know what voiceovers are. That's a thing. That's cool. That's creative." And there's going to be a lot of questions following up from that, like, "How did you get into that?" Because it's not your usual kind of, I work in an office, or I work in a restaurant, or I'm a plumber or an electrician. It's not one of those. It's not one of the stereotypical jobs that you'd expect people to do. It's a bit more niche.
It is very niche. Very niche. What about you? How did you start?
How did I start? Well, basically, again, university, weirdly, is a good time to discover your career.
Discover yourself.
I went to university to study drama, doing acting, and I realised when I was there that actually I really liked radio. I thought that was cool because they had their own radio station on campus. Insanity Radio, it's brilliant, check it out. Anyway, so I ended up presenting a show for 3 years and really enjoyed doing that and decided radio, that's what I want to go into. In the meantime, whilst I was there, people were telling me I had a nice voice. That's not generally a reason to go into voiceover. If somebody says you've got a nice voice, that's great. But it helps, but might not necessarily mean that that's going to be your career. Anyway, I did get that, and so I also ended up doing some voice acting for, I think there was media arts people were developing a website. They wanted a narrational voice to talk them through the website. There was some plays where they wanted like a ghostly voiceover and things like that. So I got poached for a couple of things while I was there, and that kind of made me think maybe this is something I could do. When I left university, I then started working at a radio station because it was what I wanted to do. I was a copywriter, got into advertising. I started voicing some adverts based off of that. And so I was writing and voicing the whole package. And then it just builds up. And I was doing it all in the background whilst doing other jobs in other creative fields, because I was quite lucky in my jobs getting creative-based jobs. And eventually decided, I'm like you, getting enough in now, let's take the plunge. I basically realised I couldn't go any further having it as a part-time job without jumping into it full-time. I wasn't going to get any more out of it. So I decided to take the risk and go full-time, and now I'm here.
And it was easy, wasn't it?
It was so easy that I would recommend it to anyone. It's the easiest thing since sliced bread. That's right. It's
That's
not.
the thing.
It's not easy.
Voiceover, like any other creative and freelance career option, comes with its fair share of pros and cons.
It does.
Firstly, business-wise, organisationally, it's quite heavy on the business.
On the sort of admin and
admin.
There's a lot more background stuff than you'd expect. It's essentially it is starting your own business. Now, I think the stats on starting new businesses, I think they say like 97% of new businesses fail and end within their first year.
And 70% of stats are actually true.
And yes, 40% of all statistics are wrong. That's what I've heard. But anyway, it's something like that. Anyway, it's a high percentage of new businesses fail within their first year. The first year is the most challenging year for a new business because that is the year you need to establish yourself, so you don't already have the contacts. That's the year that you need to be investing in equipment, like website.
Equipment. You need to know your tech. You need
Equipment.
Editing. You need a website. You need, I don't know.
You need your software. You need your hardware.
Any training you need to do.
Training, yes. You may well need mileage. Obviously, if you're traveling, expenses, that sort of thing. I mean, all kinds of costs that you incur.
Yes, for photo shoots, because you will need photo and headshots
all that
for
sort
the
of thing.
website and or going out to agents.
There's a lot of costs that you have to take on board in your first year, which you then won't necessarily need in later years, or at least not all in one go. So it is it's not an easy year the first year for your finances. You are going to take a hit, which is why if you have the time and resources beforehand, decide this is what you want to do, it's always good to have a bank, to have some savings, some money put aside as a backup for when you're struggling to establish yourself at first, when you've perhaps not got as many leads in, that you can support yourself. It's just a savvy way forward. I believe that's what you did.
Yes, I did many jobs, even temp for a while.
Yeah.
All sorts of things.
As it's a freelancing based career, you don't have the guaranteed income that you would with a 9-to-5 office job. So of course it carries its own risk in itself, which is why it's very important to establish regular clients, but also to establish something that you're kind of a side hustle, if you like, another skill that you offer, another thing that you can do to support yourself. So when times are hard, like you're saying, temping is a good thing.
Training,
yeah, anything that you can be flexible with, because I think that's the fundamental thing, is that on the one hand, you want to have a regular income. On the other hand, you also want to be available for when a job does come up. You want to be available to do it.
Yes. So I've known people be carpenters or DIY because then that affords them the flexibility. I've known people be Uber drivers.
They also mean if they're a carpenter, they could build their own studio.
Well, exactly.
There you go. Think about that. Yeah. So there's so all kinds of things that you can do around it to support yourself. So that's very important too. Obviously, financially, you need to survive. So you need to be able to sustain yourself.
And also love this, because this is a career that ebbs and flows, peaks and troughs, and any other cliche I can throw in there.
Yeah.
But there will be feast and famine.
Feast and famine. There we go. Another cliche. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. Carry on.
So you're going to have to realise that, and it doesn't suit everybody. Freelance lifestyle is a particular sort of lifestyle, and I've been lucky enough to work in both the 9-to-5 and freestyle.
Same. It's good to get an experience of both.
Exactly, and I much prefer this because I have control. I make the choices. But that doesn't suit everyone.
It's true. You are your own boss. You are responsible for your own destiny.
Exactly. I mean, if there's if I'm sick, I'm ill, I don't earn. So there is that.
We do try not to get sick.
We do. We always,
especially voice related stuff. If it's a throat infection or something, you're like, no, I must get cured of this very quickly.
Yes.
Because my life, my reputation. Yeah, all that.
Exactly.
So it's important to sustain yourself, to just keep on top of things. And actually, you're saying about peaks and troughs and that sort of thing. Actually, by being your own business, by being in charge of your own destiny like this, and because knowing what the nature of voiceover is, that it peaks and troughs in terms of how much work you get month to month, it also is going to make you more savvy with your spending and with your savings and with your accounting, if you like. You do have to become your own accountant in many ways, unless you, of course, hire an accountant, which of course you may well do, especially in later years.
Yes, and that's a good point. If you're not very good at that side of things, or any of the other sides, you're not very good creatively in terms of a website or anything, do consider employing somebody else, because otherwise you could really just drive yourself a little bit mad trying to come up with all your accounts. And if that's not your forte, that's fine. Maybe get somebody else to do it.
Maybe get somebody else to do it. When you do hire somebody else, there are plenty of people out there, but do your homework, because there are plenty of people who will rip you off. I'm not naming any names, but there are so many businesses out there that prey on people who are looking to make it in a creative career and will charge extortionate fees to do very little for you. So it's important to shop around. Also get advice from other people who are already in the industry. If you know anyone who's already a voiceover artist or in a creative field like that, or even self-employed in a completely different field, I found it was really useful talking to friends of mine who were self-employed as like supply teachers and that sort of thing, to understand just how to do tax returns and that sort of thing.
And also how to work out your working hours. And this, I know a lot of illustrators and artists. And one of the first things is really, what will your working day look like? What do you want it to look like? And try and figuring out how it works and what works for you. Because you could book yourself all day long, like 9 to 6, or you could say, well, no, I'm going to only do 1 or 2 jobs a week. Or you could say, well, my passion and forte are audiobooks, so I'm going to know that 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the month I'm going to be solidly working on that. So you have to research and do your homework as to what part of voiceover you really want to get into.
Yeah, so find your niche, find your forte, find the area that you want to get involved with. And whilst you're doing that, of course, you are going to be trying out lots of different things, so you get a broad taste of all of the different aspects of the industry, because obviously there are many fields where voiceover can be used.
I think I counted the other day, over 22 possibly.
And that's just like 22 genres, if you like.
Yes, we've got voice of God, e-learning, corporate,
continuity,
advertising, animation, as in cartoon type things, video games, audiobooks. Oh, goodness, you see,
TV and film,
ADR, looping.
TV adverts, radio adverts. You then break them down to sub things as well. But there are plenty of different areas, and
think about if you want to do all of them and be a VO generalist, or think about if you just want to specialise on 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 things.
Yeah, because obviously it's a competitive industry. There are lots of people who already are established voiceovers, and I think that leads on to the next thing, is kind of wanting to figure out what you offer that other people don't. What's your USP, if you like? What's your unique selling point?
And not just in a voice term, because that's also important to research and understand, is what do you offer the marketplace in terms of your voice and what the current trends are, but also what are you offering as a person?
Even as a business person, as a business owner, as just as a personality, because people buy people.
Exactly, and we like to work with voices who are fun, friendly, and quite frankly, we can have a bit of a giggle with.
In fact, that's why we're going to be approaching a couple of voiceovers very shortly about a project that I've been working on, that I've clued in Lorraine on. Similar thing, because I know that these people would suit certain roles, and I know that they would be good to work with. And it's the same with production houses and that sort of thing. That once they've worked with you once, they know what you're like as a person. If you are a bit of a diva, for instance, if you are perhaps a bit hard work, they may not use you again.
Enough about media.
But whereas on the other hand, if you're very easy to get along with, then very professional, got the job done nice and quickly, bish bash bosh, they're going to use you again for sure. Because why wouldn't they? It makes good business sense, and it just makes life easier and happier, which is what everyone wants.
Everyone wants a happy working environment.
Yes, they do.
And this comes also to another point, which is to really take care of yourself in terms of mental health. That ensures getting good holiday, getting breaks, and also acknowledging that some things are not in your control.
Yeah, there are always things that are constantly changing. I mean, look at the political climate at the moment in this country, with obviously all of the uncertainty around things like Brexit and stuff like that. I'm not going to talk about that, I'll give any opinions into that, but there's things that constantly change.
Clients change. I mean, the number of times that we've had jobs that have materialised and then completely vanished because either clients pulled out, or the budgets have changed, or even the production company's gone bust. Yes,
it's happened
a couple of times. So you just never know. So none of these things are really in your control, and the sooner that you appreciate that, accept it, and learn from it, then all the better.
Yeah, you've got to know the things that you can't control and accept the things that you can't control, and then take responsibility for the things that you can.
Exactly. Nicely put.
Yeah. That's all you can do, really, isn't it?
And also think about your continuing professional development, because as trends in voiceover change, as well as in business, as well as in this economy, which we seem to be going through much more a creative gig economy type of landscape currently, train yourself. Get on board with the new things. Get on board with new ways of reaching out to clients, whether it be social media or whether it be new business packages out there.
Yes, and just keep on. You can never stop improving through practice and through training and things like that. The more trained and educated you are on the industry, the better that you're going to be at it, and then therefore the better that you're going to be for your clients and so on. The more that you can offer, and
it makes you richer.
I lost my train of thought. Yes, sorry. Yes, that's exactly it. You can then you are then worth more for your services because you offer more.
Yes, I don't voice for anything less than 10 grand.
Then all the money in the world. Yes, I wish. Lastly, on voiceovers and getting started in your video career. Now, if you talk to other voiceovers who are already established, even if you're meeting them one-to-one, or for instance, like that hypothetical situation we're talking about, where they go, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I'm a voiceover." Generally, what will happen is they will emphasise the good points, that it's nice and easy, basically that it's all great, everything's rosy. But don't be fooled, because there is a lot of work that goes into it. It's not as easy as it may appear on the face of it.
It's like the beautiful swans we have outside.
It is like the majestic swans in the garden.
They're beautifully swimming along, gracefully and elegantly.
Looking like effortless.
Effortless. And underneath, it's a powerhouse. Powerhouse with paddles.
So just be aware of that, that obviously when you're looking for advice and talking to current voiceover artists, that, unless you can get them aside and perhaps they might open up a bit more, generally, you want to give the appearance that everything's fine, everything's easy, no problems at all, and it's going to be the same when they're talking to clients and things like that. Nobody wants to hear about, "Oh, I'm really struggling to pull this off," sort of thing, or to get on board with your career. You want to give the appearance of being successful, because again, if you're successful, people are going to go, "Okay, well, he clearly is good, let's invest in him." Whereas if you appear underconfident and you appear to be selling yourself short, you won't be as successful.
And also, one thing that I find very useful is mentors. And mentors can come in many shapes and forms, but especially for voiceover, if you do know anybody who freelances, or any person who works in business really, they can be really helpful for you in terms of pepping you up when you are down and just congratulating you when you succeed.
Because ultimately, they've been there, they've done that, they've been in exactly the same position as you, so they know what you're going through and all the different peaks and troughs, emotionally, financially, all the rest of it.
Exactly.
So basically, don't panic, it's all great, and if you really want this as your career, go for it, and as long as you keep on working hard at it, no matter how long it takes, you will be successful in it.
And if you see the truth, you'll speak the truth.
Yes, I always speak the truth when I see the truth. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
When you see the truth, speak the truth. And if you saw this video and you liked it, by all means like it and subscribe to the BigFish Media channel, because we appreciate that. I did it again. I've done it twice now. Sorry. Anyway, I think that's it on starting your video career. If you want to get any more advice and stuff, you can of course email us. You can find us on the BigFish Media website, and we have top tips on there, FAQs, that sort of thing as well. By all means, you can also give us a call if you want to come and do some video training. We offer that as well. And plug. Just get in touch. And until next time, I've been Jack.
I've been Lorraine. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.